let's get to March Madness, and you're not. It doesn't matter if you like Tom Izzo or not. It doesn't matter if you're a rival or not. He's not going to accept less than 150% from your motor. And I believe that right there spurs this team beyond, even if they have off nights from some of their better players.
Yeah, and, they took care of business.
And after 31 wins the last 2 seasons.
Michigan State, they took care of business when some of their more heralded guys and their best player, Jace Richardson, had an off day. Others stepped up, like Jaden Akins, like Frankly Fiddler, as I mentioned before. And even Jace Richardson, after New Mexico foolishly fouled him on a three-pointer, he knocked down all 3 free throws, and that's a big time as well, stepping up when the team needs him. And Dante 151, got to read this one, even though it's a little off topic, but it will certainly be relevant later. I believe one Mr. Flannel Sam needs to give an apology to one Mr. Ron Holland, because he did something that even LeBron James didn't do as a rookie, which is wild, by the way. The first teenager in NBA history to have a 25, 5-5 game and 0 turnovers. Holland equals dog. I will say this. Wheezy D313, one of our other most prominent chat members, he forgave me for my sins of a Ron Holland. But because my reaction at the time was so strong, probably stronger than it needed to be, I'll apologize again. Ron Holland, I'm sorry.
That is fair. And I can't wait till we get to the segment. And I probably should have clipped the full thing, because what everybody is going to see from that or remember is probably the initial reaction. But we did do, like we were supposed to in that show, an analysis and a breakdown of who he was as a player, what he was going to contribute, and what to look forward to. And what it boiled down to is exactly what we saw in that game last night. And that wasn't the first time that we saw Ron Holland put up games like that. He's looking exactly like he did with the G League Ignite. And we stated it, if all we have to wait for is his three-point shot to develop, but he's showing that he can play the high usage, finish at the rim with volume. Remember, we continued to talk about he was the only volume shooter at a high percentage in the paint and finishing at the rim out of all the other guys in the top 10. He was one of those players out of the wings that we were hoping to get. And so he came with a little bit of proven bag, but need a little bit of strength to him. And I think the NBA strength, the NBA development, being here with people that he knows, like Cade Cunningham, who he played with prior, and just having that confidence from the organization, because we're going to hear from J.B. Bickerstaff about what he feels about some of these younger players, role players, bench players, and just what he's felt. I've been telling you guys, I'm going to try and get the audio. I'm going to ask him the question of, where did this belief come from? You're pushing these guys to a standard that even some of the most ardent fans didn't believe. So I can't wait to get there and break it down. But again, Ron Holland deserves all the credit in the world for being exactly what he promised to be from day one.
Hey, much more on Ron Holland later, and I've got some numbers, as I'm sure you do as well, Kool-Aid. Hell, we might even have some of the same numbers. But, JB, I also wanted to ask you a little bit about the Bryant game, because we weren't able to react to it because you guys obviously played Friday. Cohen Carr.
Oh, my God.
It's funny because Barstool Bryant, I didn't even know that existed either. That's the weirdest thing ever, that there's an account called Barstool Bryant.
Yeah.
But they were talking smack about Cohen Carr. And to some extent, I get it, because they have nothing to lose, because if they somehow were able to win, they'll be legends. But they specifically called out Cohen Carr. What was it? Are we supposed to be afraid of a 6'5" small forward that averages 8 points and 3 rebounds a game? But I'll tell you what, Cohen Carr had probably his greatest moment on the biggest stage in a tournament play, and that game was set up for Cohen Carr to dominate, because Bryant is also a team that likes to push the pace at times. But Cohen Carr is just that special kind of athlete, an athlete that Bryant had never seen, and Cohen Carr made some special plays. How'd you feel about that game, and Cohen Carr in particular?
I'll say this, that was one of my unsung heroes right there. I was not expecting this. I know this man can fly out of the gym, but I was not expecting 18 points, 9 rebounds, and a block from this dude. Like, Tom just, let him play. He was like, hey, he's on a heater right now. Just let him go. Let him continue on playing. I mean, the rest of the team still got some shots up as well, too. Jason Richardson actually, 15 points in that game as well. But still, it was Cohen Carr. That was a hero right there. Shout out to Tom Izzo for, not benching him, not, pulling him back and say, hey, take a breather, take a rest. This was your coming out party, Cohen Carr. Hopefully you can keep this up as well, too. And you can see it. You also seen it last night as well, too, with a lot of the effort he was giving as well with rebounds, even saving an out of bounds play, getting the Spartans back possession. But man, Cohen Carr, I can't speak highly enough about this dude. Hopefully, he will be an NBA athlete soon, but as of right now, I'm enjoying this time at Michigan State.
But it's exactly what I'm talking about. Tom Izzo does this all the time. He puts together these teams where it's just these NBA potential type athletes, whether they're in the starting lineups or coming off the bench, or sometimes he has to go deeper into the rotation. It's like, where are you getting these players from? Shout out to Tom Izzo for what he does. He's one of the easy ones of the rivals to credit, just because I love hoops, and his mind is a good one. Going to like different camps that he's talked at over the years, he's one of the just when we talk about JB Bickerstaff being a coach's coach, obviously Tom Izzo is one of the coaches. So shout out to you guys, man. Michigan State Spartans. I'm happy for you, JB Bickersmooth. And Flannel Sam.
Appreciate that.
Poetic Justice, how are you feeling about Wisconsin?
I mean, I love seeing Wisconsin go down.
Yeah.
I've always hated Wisconsin basketball. I hate them slightly less now than those rat Bo Ryan teams. Oh, my God. Like,
Bo Ryan
some
teams.
names that just make me want to scream are Frank Kaminsky. And shout out to Frank Kaminsky. He actually had game, but that didn't mean I had to like him. And then they had this carrot top-looking motherfucker named Mike Bruzewicz. God, I hated so many of those guys. Oh, they were horrible to watch. But they did win a lot. But, of course, I love seeing Wisconsin go down. And, JB, I wanted to follow up one more thing on a Cohen Carr. The good news is I think he has a lot of developing left. I think it would behoove him to stay another year or two because he is a special athlete, just one of those God-given traits. His vertical is off the charts, but I don't think he's a complete enough basketball player to be a viable NBA player just yet. But if he comes back, has the best year of his career, develops some more skills, maybe he will be. So you might be seeing Cohen Carr for another year. At least that's what I suspect.
No, I completely agree with you on that as well, too. I don't think he's a complete NBA player just yet. But like I said, if you come back another year, another tutelage under Tom Izzo, you definitely can get your skills together and honestly be a late first round or early second round pick if he chooses to do that as well, too. But definitely, he has the talent. He has the skills. It's just mastering those. That's what it takes.
Hey, and we'll see. It's a testament to Michigan State that they've got a lot of depth, and that's what was one of their strengths going into the tournament, and it could end up being a strength as this tournament goes on. Hopefully, I obviously would like to see them not go too far, but I'm happy for my friend JB.
I am happy, and that's my question to you, man. What is that outlook for you, brother? How confident are you moving ahead to this next weekend?
I mean, storylines are kind of writing themselves. This looks like there's going to be a date with Michigan versus Michigan State in the Elite Eight. So I'm hyped for that.
That gets me fired up.
Oh, that would be incredible, at least for our network, for the city. I personally would prefer Michigan versus Ole Miss, but at the end of the day, I can see the path, and it would be just quite a day. Imagine the day previewing that, and I'm sure we would have a watch party as well. And just imagine the bragging rights that either school would get. Obviously, Michigan's got a very tall task going against Auburn, who for much of the year was probably the best team in the country. MSU's got a tough one against Ole Miss, so we'll see. It could happen, it could not.
If
but
that happens, we gotta get a Platty and Spinny on here, right over on the couch. Yeah, that would be an epic one because that game will probably. I wonder when it would happen. Probably earlier in the day. So it would be dope to be able to get those guys on the show and get some real banter going on. So I know JB Smooth, you would love to have some Sparty company on here, huh?
I mean, that would be amazing. I'm over here fighting the good fight by myself. So if Spinny and Platty can get on here, that'll be amazing.
Yes, and that game would be on a Sunday if it were to happen, by the way. But I'm sure we would have something set up here. That's for sure. But we'll see. Just a great. I always like it when, even though I hate State with every fiber of my being, it's nice that the tournament, because last season we all know what happened with Michigan, worst season in program history, and State, they had a disappointing year as well, went out in round 2, and now we can just talk for multiple segments about tournament basketball, and that's what March is all about, and it's just, I love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. Coming up next, though, we got to get to Michigan because they advanced to the Sweet 16 as well. And unfortunately for you, JB, Michigan does outnumber Michigan State on the show, so we got multiple voices that want to talk the talk. But first, gotta tell you about Feldman. I really wish that I wouldn't have counted this team out, because I know you'll find clips of me saying that I predicted they would lose in the first round of the Big Ten tournament and in the first round of the NCAA tournament. And to Michigan basketball, I do apologize for that, and I could not be happier to be wrong. A Sweet 16 appearance in Dusty May's first year as head coach. Are you kidding me? Michigan basketball is officially back. And honestly, as much as the Sweet 16 is an opportunity for Michigan to do even more, win some more games, maybe advance even further, maybe pull off the upset against Auburn, just the fact that Michigan has made it this far already, this season is already a success. In future seasons, the expectations will be higher, but coming off an 8-24 season, 3-17 in Big Ten play, just what I've watched, the amount of games that I've been to this year, even when the team wasn't looking so great, I'm just very, very grateful for this team. And I'm very, very grateful that in this game in particular, I saw them at the point when they were down 60-50, rattle off one of the most impressive stretches of Michigan basketball I've ever seen. Closed the game on a 41-19 run. So many players stepped up and hit big shots, made big stops, made huge rebounds. It was just the type of Michigan basketball that I know and love. And when you even talk about the totality of the game, less than 10 turnovers. When Michigan does that, they're damn near unstoppable. Love to see that. The free throw shooting over 80%, which was a great change from the previous tournament game, which they almost shot themselves into a loss with free throws. So shout out to this Michigan team. Could not be prouder. And it's taking it all in of how far things have come. I used to dream about days like these.
Hey, and JB Smooth, do you have that graphic with the 2 7-footers on there?
Oh, you mean Area 51?
Hey, you know what? Let's throw that up there, man, because you know, these are the things I've been trying to just focus on with this Michigan team and wondering, can Dusty May motivate this team to be better? These were mistakes that they were causing and bring upon themselves. And even though rebounds isn't necessarily a mistake, we noticed, and I know KG, you were really, really big on this, that they were just out of position on a lot of these rebounds, and putting them in man and letting these guys just go out there and scrap it out in certain situations allowed them, in my opinion, to rebound better. And I know that some of the things that dude, Justin, I wish he could have been here today because I know he's fired up about this victory today. One of the things he wanted to see was those bigs go out there and not just get double-doubles, but try and get a dominant double-double. I know the guy that he asked the most out of was Vlad Golden. So it was good to see him go out there and put up a big double-double, 23 points, 12 rebounds, and there were plays where when they needed a bucket, they were able to dump it down to those big guys and let them just get what looked like an easy layup. So it was nice to see Dusty May being able to motivate things that led to those guys, you know, Vlad G getting a double-double, Danny Wolf just outside of that with 14 and 9. Obviously, Roddy Gale Jr., who I know you're going to expound on a little bit later, Flannel Sam, had another impressive game off the bench. You had some words to say about him in the last show too, KG. And just the impressive stats, you talked about it. Under 10 turnovers. You've been screaming about the turnovers for a while, Flannel Sam. Just 9. And then they won the rebound battle and the points in the paint battle while holding Texas A&M to 38% from the field and 25.9 from 3. These were all the things we were saying Michigan has to do better to have any chance of advancing to the next weekend in March Madness.
Hey, and while we're on Area 51, I figure we could start with them because I'll be honest, and KG, I know you saw this as well, Kool-Aid, you saw this as well too. There were moments throughout the game where Pharrell Payne, Texas's big man, was dominating. And there were points in the second half where Texas A&M was up by 10, and Michigan just had no answer for Pharrell Payne. And at points during the game, I didn't know how Vlad Golden or even Danny Wolf would look at the end of the game, whether a lot of the blame was going to be placed on one Area 51, especially Vlad Golden. But I'll tell you what, when it comes to Vlad Golden, there are a lot of heroes in this game. There are a lot of players who played great for certain stretches. Honestly, this is kind of a theme of today's show. But Vlad Golden, I've got to give him a ton of credit for a couple of things. One, he got a 23-12 double-double with 5 offensive rebounds. You love to see that. That's exactly what you want Vlad Golden is too big and too strong, even though he doesn't always play like it, to not be getting double-doubles, to not at least be playing Pharrell Payne to a draw, because Vlad Golden is a better player. It's just Pharrell Payne might be a little bit more athletic and stronger. But Vlad Golden, there was a stretch in which Roddy Gale really carried Michigan to a 1-point lead. 71-70.
He was their three-point shooting.
Hey, who would have thought that before yesterday? But more on that in just a couple of minutes. But then Vlad Golden, in that stretch, after Michigan took a 71-70 lead, proceeded to score Michigan's next 8 points. 2 easy buckets assisted by Reuben Jones. Shout out to him as well. 2 free throws and an easy layup assisted by Trey Donaldson. Shout out to him as well. More on him later. So Vlad Golden, when he needed to be fed, dominate the paint when the team needed him most, and make his free throws, which he did at a 9-for-11 clip, Vlad Golden, for whatever sins that he had, for whatever times he lost battles, individual battles to Pharrell Payne, Vlad Golden made up for that and then some at the end of the game, really, honestly, putting this team away. He was the closer. He was the one who Texas A&M just didn't have answers for down low in the latter part of the second half, and that's what ended up extending Michigan's lead from 71-70 to 79-72. Couldn't stop him at the end.
And this was another interesting one from Area 51. Okay, how many blocks did University of Michigan have? They had 6 for the game, and Texas A&M 3 for the game.
Yes.
You know who had the blocks for Michigan?
3 for
Danny
Golden,
Wolf,
3 for Wolf.
Bro, they put in the work. I mean, but this is what they have to continue to do.
Yep.
When we talked about the Michigan State game, the first one just burned the tape.
Yep.
This is one of the ones, though, against Texas A&M that you say, you know what, guys, pop in the footage. This is more of what we like to see, especially, like you stated, kind of more in those later 7 minutes to go in the game. It seemed like this team, they figured out what their identity was, or at least what was working in the game, which is a sign of good coaching, and they continue to attack it and attack it and attack it. And we sat up here for weeks. You guys have talked about this for a long time. They have some strengths that it just doesn't seem like they're utilizing, and then beyond that, they're also shooting themselves in the foot. This was one of those games where it seemed like they put it all together, where the things that you think these should work, it worked out for them. Seeing Vlad Golden go out there and them being able to effectively just dump the ball to him in the paint, and he just turns around and puts it up on the glass, it was just like, all right, do more of this stuff.
Yep. And shout out to Reuben Jones and Trey Donaldson for feeding him as well at the end of the game, because, you know, when you're a big man, you can't really create your own offense, and Vlad Golden can get as open or as good a position as you want. Somebody's still got to feed him, and Reuben Jones and Trey Donaldson did that. Hey, love to see that. Speaking of assists, I got to shout out Danny Wolf as well, because there was a big stretch. This was actually in the beginning of the first half, or not at the beginning, at the end of the first half. There was a stretch where Danny Wolf assisted on 4 consecutive Michigan-made baskets, which were his only 4 assists of the game. You had a Reuben Jones 3, a Roddy Gale dunk, a Roddy Gale 3, and a Vlad Golden bucket. That ended up cutting a 6-point lead, or a 6-point deficit to 1. Those are big moments. I understand that when we talk about the game, we're going to talk about the second half, and rightfully so. But Danny Wolf, there were some moments at the end of the first half where he looked like, honestly, for that stretch, as good of a passing big man as I've ever seen in college. And we know that he has that in him. We know that he has that skill set. And before I pass it over to KG, Area 51 as a whole, before the game on Thursday, the first round matchup against UC San Diego, I called for Area 51 to combine for 40 and 20 and do it efficiently. They did not succeed in that mission on Thursday, but they still ended up winning. But against Texas A&M, a team that is more known for rebounding and for having capable big men like Pharrell Payne, for example, Area 51 combined for 41 points, 21 rebounds, 10 offensive rebounds, 6 blocks, and 77% from the free throw line, which is absolutely huge, which 77% is above Vlad Golden's season average, which is way above Danny Wolf's season average, and something that really plagued Michigan in the game against UC San Diego. If Vlad Golden's making his free throws, and if Danny Wolf is making his free throws, they can beat Auburn. More on that on Friday, but Area 51 is really that advantage that Michigan's going to have over most teams.
Yeah, and KG, what up, though, man? There was so much that went right for Go Blue, and I'm very confident. I know leading up to the Big Ten tournament, Michigan at first didn't give us the best of spirits, but Dusty May, he's somebody that during this time can go in and bring out the right game plan, and honestly, the right type of play out of his guys come tournament time. We saw it through the Big Ten tournament run. They look like a completely different team than the weeks prior, and they've continued that now.
Yeah, no, Dusty May went out there and he did exactly everything I wanted him to do over this past week. You remember last week I was saying that, Vlad Golden, and not that you necessarily want to run your whole offensive game plan through him, but for a majority of this game, I wanted to see them dump the ball to him down low, be the anchor, draw the defense in, and be able to create opportunities for other people. He's a big man that can hit his free throws at the line. There's no reason that at 7 foot you shouldn't be force feeding this guy in the paint, because on most nights you will have that advantage, and that's what you saw in this game. Particularly the work that Michigan did in this second half. And let me just start off by saying this is officially a dream season for Michigan. The way these guys just continue to battle through adversity is really admirable. Like you said, they were down 10 points in that second half at one point, came back to win by 11. This run has been absolutely amazing, and I'm satisfied as a fan. No matter what happens, going against Auburn, we all know that's a tall task, but we will cross that bridge when we come to it. But you got a better offensive output from Danny Golden. He went out there 14 points, a little more efficient, 6 of 13. The only thing that they didn't do well was shoot the three. You still want to see them, hit the three a little better, but overall they kept the turnovers down. Were they, starting to creep up? Yeah, but they were able to keep that to single digits. I think that's huge. And you just got big games from everybody in the second half, man. Once again, Trey Donaldson, I know he didn't have the best game, but late in the game he made clutch plays when it mattered. LJK signed another guy that went out there and provided a spark off the bench, and I can't speak enough to the game that Roddy Gale had. And if he can go out there and do, I don't expect this out of him every night, but if he can go out there and give you 80%, 75% of what he gave you this past weekend, then Michigan is a very, very dangerous team, especially when you have Vlad Golden hitting in the paint like he did, 23 and 12 for him, and Danny Wolf just being your every tool big man, being able to pass, being able to score, also being able to rebound. You mentioned the 3 blocks for each on the defensive end. Dusty May trusted his defense out there. He kept man most of the game, and you saw it pay off. They won the rebounding battle, and they look good down the stretch, bro. So, man, I'm so happy with this Michigan team, and we all know Johnny Broom and the boys over at Auburn. It's not going to be easy next week, man. That man is averaging a double-double. It's going to be a tall task, but if Michigan can play to their strengths, they absolutely have a chance going against the best team in the nation.
Yeah, that's
Can I just read these super chats before we move on just a little bit?
Yeah.
Once again, shout out to everyone sending in super chats. $9.99 from Luigi Gaming. I don't know about this one, bro. He said, I would rather watch my fiance get nailed by Jason Love than watch Michigan.
Damn, okay, big dog.
Yo, that's a cult.
Luigi, we're here for you.
I respect that.
Cooking out, huh?
I respect that because
heavy.
I'm not even going to put this out there, but if MSU wins big, I will be very depressed. Probably call someone about me depressed, but not to get too dark. I understand Luigi's argument, and I don't hate you for it. As I honestly have a lot more respect for people who are just open and unapologetical haters, because I know I am for Michigan State. I know that JB is for Michigan, and that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. But at the end of the day, I think we can all appreciate that both teams are in the Sweet 16 or at a possible collision course for the Elite Eight. And
just don't put your girl on the line, Luigi.
Yeah,
Right.
But
Sucker shit.
is there another? There's another one, right?
Yeah, there's another one.
ahead.
Shout out to everyone once again sitting in super chats. Dante151,
Shout out.
$4.99. He said on that game-winning shot for Maryland, did he travel? I think he did, but the refs didn't call it. So life goes on. Let's go, all 3 teams.
Hey, he might have, but that was big time by Derek Queen. He's a damn good player. He's going to be a top 10 pick, and shout out to him. And Maryland, they're a team that I know our guy Justin was very high on. That probably is, but that's all right. I'm not gonna. That was big time. I don't know how he got it off the glass
I swear.
so smoothly.
Maryland is supposed to lose, bro.
They were.
I'm on their ass still. I still don't believe in them.
Hey, they did make the Sweet 16, though.
They did.
But we'll see what happens in the next round. But before we move on to my apology to a certain player, I see a couple people in the chat about Hunter Dickinson. Yes, he choked. This is Chuck Brewer. I thought Hunter was the best big man in the country. When do we hear about his great games? He has had many, but that tournament game was on.